Hello Year 6, welcome to your literacy video for Wednesday. So yesterday I hope you had fun with your writing, most of you, and we're going to use that today, so make sure you've got that open on that right page. So we're carrying on, this is our final day in the Dragon Book, and then tomorrow we'll be on our new one. So if you've got the Dragon Book, we're still in this one. And we're finishing off on the last page, so page 33. If you don't have this book, don't worry, I'll go over yours in a second, and then I'll go over your word power work for today as well. Okay, so I thoroughly enjoyed reading some of your pieces of writing. You did a brilliant job. So today we are just doing this page, okay? And you're going to have a go at writing your own reading questions. So making your own reading comprehension. So you're going to have a look at your diary and try and think of some questions. So you could think of some retrieval-y kind of questions. So like, where was the parcel? And the answer would be on the kitchen table, wouldn't it? Because that's already done for us. You can ask some questions like, how do you think the narrator was feeling? So you should really have given some clues of how they were feeling. So you should have used some show, not tell. So that could be the answer. So once you've gone through and written yourself some questions, you can then swap with somebody. You could, if they're up for it, ask a parent to answer your questions. You can send them to me if you want. I'll be happy to use your writing. Just make sure it's a nice clear picture, and then I can read your writing and I can try and answer your questions. Or you could send them to a friend. You could send them on WhatsApp, send them over on your phones, and I'm sure your friends, especially if they're in your literacy group, will be able to have a good go at answering your questions for your text. Just make sure, so on question 3, it says try to make these questions trickier. They're worth 2 marks each. So for those ones, you could maybe give 2 questions, like you could say, how does the person feel? How do you know? Or explain how you know. And then they've got to answer both, haven't they, to get both marks. So you've had lots of practice at reading questions. So if you're struggling for a type of question, you could flip back and see if you can get any ideas of a type of question. Like, for example, I've just flipped back to Peter Pan, and it says, which adjective does Wendy use to describe flying? So you could, if you've got some adjectives in your writing, you could say, which adjective is used to describe the parcel? So if you said somewhere, I don't know, the brown parcel, then the answer would be brown, wouldn't it? Okay, so you've got to use your knowledge of reading and think carefully about what types of questions you could write. Okay, and then I look forward to seeing the questions that you write, and I look forward to trying to answer them or seeing that you've asked somebody else to answer them. Okay, so that's your work for today. If you've got the octopus book, then your next text is page 19, and it says, who said what? So it says, trace over each sentence and draw a line to match the speech bubble to the right person. So you're practicing a bit of writing here. So you need to trace over these. Okay, so you need to write over the top of those letters and then read it to see what it says. So then you can match it to the correct picture down the side. Okay, so you've got I love sport. I love sport. So you've got to use that and look at the pictures to see if you can think which one loves sport and match it up to the correct picture. Okay? Your word power work for today then, if you've got a word power book. If you haven't, don't worry, you can carry on with your practicing your handwriting or practicing your spellings on Edshed. Your word power work for today then is just one page again, and it's page 15 today. So we're carrying on with beginnings and endings. So it's carrying on from yesterday, all about prefixes and suffixes. So it says here, the letters at the end of some words can mean something too. Here's a list of some common suffixes. How many other examples can you think of? So it's just like you did yesterday, but for suffixes, so at the end of words. So you've got full, which means it's full of something. So careful, you're full of care, taking lots of care. So you've got to try and think of another word ending in full, like helpful. Yeah? And then you've got to do that for all of those. So read the suffix, read what it means, and then have a think if you can think of 2 more words that end in that suffix. And you can always use a dictionary to help you if you're struggling. But have a go first at using what you already know. So it says, the suffix able usually makes words into adjectives. So we all know that adjectives are describing words, don't we? It says, how many adjectives ending in able do you know? Like readable. You could have, just be careful you don't get mixed up though with able. So like sensible is able, isn't it? So try and think of some words that end in able. Okay, so think of their adjectives probably. See how many you can think of. What do you think the suffix able means? So once you've got some words in that box, have a look at them all and think, what have they all got in common? What does the suffix able do to all of those words? And then at the bottom, how could knowing the meanings of prefixes and suffixes help with your reading? So how do you think, by knowing what anti and dis and full and less, if you know what they mean, how does that help you with your reading? And when you're reading words, maybe words that you haven't read before, how would it help you? Okay, have a think about that and then write something in that little box at the bottom. Okay, so I look forward to receiving your pictures for today. Make sure you email me if you've got any questions at all, and I can't wait to see your pictures and send you some feedback. See you tomorrow.